So first, the most important thing, truly, that you can work on is your mindset. You have to have a proactive mindset about life. Someone can give you all the greatest tools in the world. They can give you all the right steps to do anything there is. But if you don't have the right mindset to do it, you won't do it. Because just because you have all the tools and all the steps and all the fundamentals, without the right mindset, you won't follow through when it gets difficult. And that's just the reality of it. And everything of value in life becomes difficult and has difficulty within it all the time. That is the nature of a well-lived life. And so I'm going to talk just a few moments about that. Mindset, it's more than an attitude. It's like a deep level of conviction. And I teach specifically how to get to mindset. Your mindset it's a compilation of what you value, what principles you live by, and what your beliefs are. Now, the belief side can be a little tricky because you have sort of platform universal beliefs, and then you got limiting beliefs. You have beliefs that you didn't put in your head, but you've adopted. And most of those typically are about self. But then there's other things that just that relate back to principles and values, right? Like, for example, if someone believes that they can use a magic pill and it'll make all their issues go away, then what kind of life is that going to lead to them if they continue to follow through with that, right? It's going to lead to a harder and harder life, right? And that's a false belief, right? Now, granted, there's a lot of noise that will make someone feel like that has to be true and people presenting it that it's true. But fundamentally, if we consider the nature of life, nothing works that way, right? And we get outside of that emotional stuff floating around and look at it, really nothing works that way. So the first thing you have to work on is your belief system, right? Your belief system is driven by what you think, because essentially a belief is nothing more than a thought that you continue to think. That's the reality. If you continue to think the same thought, then you're going to believe that thing, whether it's true or not, right? I mean, that's just the nature of a human being. So you've got to go to work on that belief system. You've got to identify what your values are. Like for me, a few of my values are freedom, right? I value optimal wellness, right? Maximizing wellness in all facets. I value serving others. I value integrity of commitment, right? Those are things that I don't sway from because I'm clear about them. There's plenty more, but we don't have time for me to list them all, right? And then principles, things like everything has a process. Learn the process and work it. It doesn't matter what it is. It applies to everything. It applies to your career, it applies to your health, it applies to your relationships. Everything has a process. You can't skip the steps. You have to do the process, whatever that is. And another of, I think, a very important principle is never sacrifice the long run for a short-term gain. Never. And that's what a quick fix thing does to you. But the bottom line is, when you go to work on your thinking and your belief system, that will affect your choices. You see, what you think affects what you choose, and what you choose then affects what you act on. And then what you act on creates a result which either affirms your belief or your thinking or blows it up, right? One of the two. And if we continually operate in a way where we don't, especially when it comes to self-beliefs, then we will create this cycle in our lives based on this constant wrong thinking. That's just a basic platform. And so the reason you need to go to work on your mindset is because your life is going to reflect your choices and your habits. That's what it's going to reflect, right? If you look at what your life looks like right now, it is a complete reflection of what your habits have been in the last 5 to 10 years, which have been a result of your mindset. That's just how it goes. And so the reason mindset is so important is because once you establish a mindset, that leads to commitment. And commitment is crucial because whatever matters to you in life, you have to go into it with a no option mentality. That's just the nature of it. You can't go into it, well, I hope, I'll try to do better in my health, and if it doesn't work out, I won't. No, you have to go into the mindset that there's no option but to continue forward. And so adopting commitment will then lead to the self-discipline. right? Because when you made a commitment, you discipline yourself to do something whether you feel like it or not, which is crucial. Because nobody wakes up in the morning and feels like doing all the stuff that's in front of them, especially things that they do for themselves, because nobody's standing over them saying, do this thing for yourself, right? You will go do that. You'll stand up in the morning, no matter how you feel, and go to work for someone else's dream, right? Because they're writing a paycheck. Doesn't matter how you feel. You have to adopt that same mentality when it comes to living your life and your dreams and taking care of you and growing you, right? That's how it flows. And so from self-discipline becomes habits. You see, you don't have to be disciplined very long until something becomes a habit. And then once it becomes habit and you continue to practice it, it becomes lifestyle. And then it's completely without thought, because the fruit that is coming back is so powerful. Now you're just looking for ways to even improve that. So it starts with mindset, then it goes to commitment, then it goes to self-disciplines, then it becomes habit, and then it becomes lifestyle. And once you get there, the world is yours. And then the process of application is what I call 3 circles. That's the next fundamental in this little soup here. And that is, your self-care has to come first. And the reason it has to come first is because your self-care is what produces your energy. And everything else in your life requires energy. Energy equals time. When someone says, I don't have time, that's not a reality. They have all the time there is. What they don't have is energy. They don't have the energy to use their time well, right? When you take care of yourself physically, and then you take care of yourself mentally, then you have the energy to show up in the relationships that matter to you, which are all across the board, from loved ones to your working world, right? Then you can show up with energy to apply the time and attention that is necessary to bear fruit in those relationships. In that process, you begin to develop skills. They become applicable to both sides, both the relationship piece and then into your career. That's how it flows fundamentally, but it starts with mindset, as in, this isn't an option. But the ironic thing about this is that while you are the one who is reaping these amazing benefits, this isn't actually about you. Ironically, you do this so that you can be of greater service to the people you care about, to the people that you work with, to the people that you serve in your community, to the people that you serve in life. This is the way to get to a rich life. It is not disputable. Everyone who follows this path, their life gets increasingly better. How far they choose to go on it is their choice, right? I chose to take it all the way because I wanted to get to a place where, personally, I could focus my entire energy on purpose and not have to worry about any of the other things because they were just part of the lifestyle. And that is what we ultimately teach. Now, again, whatever you choose is up to you, right? I mean, I respect whatever you choose. If you choose to go the full Monty in this work and take this as far as you can, we'll support you in that. If you just want to do better physically, we'll support you in that. If you want to just do a little better in your relationships, we'll support you in that, right? If you don't want to be a part of it at all, I hope you find something that helps you the way this would, because I know what the fruit of this is, and I know that the people that are here, and the last piece is this community. It is hard to go alone in this world. It is. It's important. We're human beings, and I'm a very deep introvert. I spend purposely a lot of time by myself, but even I must have community. Human beings are meant to be in community. And this is a community where you will be surrounded by incredible people who are encouraging, supportive, who are walking the walk and will walk it right next to you and point out where the rocks are and point out where the potholes are and give you insights. Now, you'll choose to listen or not. That's, again, nobody will ever push you or pressure you. But this is an amazing place to grow life.